Hello, 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 everyone. It's your girl, Self Carrie, your astrological empowerment counselor, here with this week's video newsletter update on what's happening in astrology, what transits you can expect to experience this week in your own personal world, as well as out across the globe. We are officially halfway through the year. Congratulations. Okay. Even if we just made it through April eclipses, I think we should give ourselves a pat, an applause and a pat on the back. The astrological aspect that is in super, super new moon demand is the new moon in Cancer. This is all about planting the seeds of emotional intelligence, of family, of home, and also of your own physical nesting foundation. Okay. So before I get into the new moon in Cancer and what you can expect from that, just a little housekeeping for those who are looking for, and I know many have reached out to me, for those who are looking for affordable monthly astrological readings to give you guidance and direction and help you stay ahead of the game on a monthly basis. I now offer a monthly subscription. I just go to the coaching page of my website to learn more. I have been doing this with clients for a couple of months now, and it's been very successful. So I decided to open it up to more people. I also do in-person readings, mini astrology readings, only 20 to 30 minutes at the Wu Wei Tea Temple in Fairfax, California, every Thursday evening. You want to check the Wu Wei Tea Temple website for more details. All right, the new moon in Cancer. What is Cancer energy? Cancer is the first water sign of the zodiac, and I often talk about Cancer being the first emotional energy that human beings experienced. If every sign in the zodiac represents a different age in human development, Aries being the first, meaning the newborn, Taurus meaning being the second, representing like the 2-year-old, the terrible twos. Gemini representing around three when children are interested in thinking and learning and things like that. The terrible twos would be when they're interested in hoarding and keeping things for themselves, which is very Taurus-like. Um, if that is the case, then the fourth sign of the zodiac, the first water sign, which is Cancer, represents when children and humans develop emotional connection, the desire to be received emotionally and to also receive others emotionally. This is usually around the ages of 4 and 5, okay? Especially those are the times when kids go into daycare, or when they are actually starting to care about the well-being of those around them, okay? So Cancer is a very mothering energy. It represents mothering, parenting, nurturing, and emotional intelligence and stability, because this is the time when human beings started to learn how to be emotionally self-sufficient, right? Self-soothing, things like that, but also learn how to have emotions for other people. And this is also, that tender age when some people didn't develop that and are in adulthood having to develop those things. So in astrology, the US is a Cancer sign. So you will always see a lot of action coming out of the US during the month of July. And this July is no exception. So if we're dealing with a new moons represent planting seeds of something that we hope to harvest later during the full moon of that sign. So new moon in Cancer means let's plant some seeds right now of emotional abundance or emotional intelligence that we hope to see sprouting when the full moon in Cancer comes around about 6 months from now. So questions to ask yourself during this time. Hmm. How can you solidify your relationships with your family and your chosen family? How can you make relationships with family healthier, or at least healthier for you by sometimes walking away? Okay. How can you stabilize your current home environment, your current nest? And how can you plan for what you want your home to be in the future? I've seen this happening with a lot of my clients where they're doing things like rethinking the home where they live. I have some friends who have a huge house that they are decided to downsize into like a townhouse, and so they're starting the procedure for that, right? We're also thinking about where we want to live next, right? Like me, I've made no, I'm not a secret about this, my desire to live in communal and shared communities. And how I think that's actually the future, and the sooner that we get learning how to do that, the better. But what that will look like, this is the month when you start to think about those things, and those are things that I've been thinking about, but they're certainly coming to the fore. I'm seeing a lot of fruition in those areas right now. Um, thinking about your own family, you might have some things happening in your family. You might have some family members that are not well, that need more attention, or just some things coming up in the family that need your attention. Um, and then, of course, there's chosen family, and this could be your friends. So you might even see these things not necessarily happening in your own family, your blood family, but in your friendship groups. Okay. So how will we see this globally? You know, it's interesting that the US is the zodiac sign of Cancer, because the US is such a new country, um, compared to the rest of the planet, the rest of the world. Um, Cancer is an emotional sign, but as I often say, it doesn't mean that Cancer is just like crazy emotions out there all the time. Cancer is the most emotionally intelligent sign. The reason why Cancer feels like, like all over the place crazy, is because people who don't have Cancer placements are usually don't know how to deal with their feelings. And so it can be kind of crazy for people who do have Cancer placements to deal with a world that is not in touch with their emotions, that acts out in these ways, this often childlike ways, because they refuse to feel things. Um, and so the US is very interesting in that it is the Cancer sign, and it has that mothering, nurturing, the desire to be, the US has this desire for everything to originate from us. If you notice, we want to be the parents of the world, give our resources. But oftentimes mothering can turn into policing, wanting to control everyone else and make sure everyone else is taken care of, to such a degree that we are controlling their experience. And so, that is, I would say, the dark energy of the feminine Cancer sign. The dark feminine, not dark feminine, but I would say toxic femininity is the need to control things by emotions, right? Or to control the emotions of others. Um, there is a time, women having, who traditionally women are the ones who give birth, um, and parent along with a father figure. Um, there is a time when the father takes over, right? And leads the child away and out into the world and teaches them. And both parents could do that too. But at some point, you got to pull yourself off the teat. You know what I'm saying? And that's where Cancer energy can go wayward. There can be so much nurturing and so much, I want what's best for you, that there is no letting go and letting people become what they're going to become. And you can see this happening with the US, in this trying to, like, in the, intense care of the world, trying to control it as well, and control that's called caring. So, and you might want to check that in your own life. Where are you caring for others, but it's actually an attempt to control them, to control their experience, and also to control your experience of them? Where are you withdrawing love or withdrawing care in order to control and manipulate another person? We have to look at the higher and the lower octave of all of the zodiac signs, and that's the higher and lower octave of Cancer, with the highest octave being this real, true desire for stability and caring and nurturing within the home, and creating a nest for someone to grow. So, how we might see this globally. It is the new moon in Cancer, but there's all kinds of other astrological transits happening at this time as well. One of them is that Mars and Uranus will be conjoining a little later on this month. And Mars represents anger, amongst other things, and Uranus represents sudden things happening, sudden things. So, sudden moments of anger around the Cancer energy. So, I would imagine this is sudden emotional outbreaks, sudden ego trips, sudden acts that were meant to be nurturing, but actually it's like, oh, you don't want my care, I'm taking it back, that kind of thing. So with Cancer being, representing like traditional families and traditional motherhood, I can absolutely see with Mars and Uranus conjoined lots of attacks globally on non-traditional families and non-traditional motherhood. We can see that happening already. With the idea of the far right and what they represent. Um, but we can also see that happening in kind of um, this idea that there can't be non-traditional families and non-traditional motherhood. Remember that this is a time of exploration. Nothing is set in stone. We are in the age of Aquarius now, and Aquarius is about evolution. So when we take these very traditional things that we consider to be traditional, like motherhood and parenting and Cancer energy and emotions, we have to also put them with the lens of being in an age that is interested only in evolution. And with Pluto now in Aquarius for the next 20 years, this is evolution by any means necessary. Pluto is Scorpio energy. It wants to get to the bottom. It wants to get to the truth, and it wants everything to be exposed and out on the table. So, Pluto in Aquarius is very Malcolm X about evolution. And remember that Aquarius is an air sign. It's not emotional. Aquarius doesn't care if you don't want to evolve. So, when we talk about things that are considered non-traditional and all that, that's simply evolution. It's simple. There is no going back. Aquarius doesn't care if you don't want to grow a third eye to see better. Okay. Aquarius doesn't care if you don't want to grow gills to be able to adapt to life underwater, which with the way climate change is causing sea levels to rise, do not count out the possibility of evolution, meaning human beings developing new spiritual and physical changes to adapt, just like every other planet, every other animal on the planet. Okay. So Aquarius does not care if you want a trad wife or a trad husband, okay, or that you want to go back to the way things used to be. There is no used to be. There is only the future and how you are going to adapt to it, right? So, the best ways to work with this energy, because as a Cancer energy can be quite traditional. Cancer is on that traditional axis. The opposite of Cancer is Capricorn. Capricorn represents the traditional father energies, Cancer, the traditional mother energies. But if we're sitting in the middle of the age of Aquarius, these things are not traditional anymore. We have to evolve. So the energies that you should best use to adapt right now is to focus on creating a solid communal and shared living situation for yourself, for your family, and going forward. Um, I think we are kind of letting go of the days of the single family household, okay? um, Deepen into getting along with others. Find out how to get along with others. This is why so much stuff is coming up about relationships and attachment styles and communications, because people are going to have to learn how to live a little bit more tribally. I'm not going to say tribally the way it was before, because again, we're in the age of Aquarius, so we're going to have to adapt a new way of what that means for us now. Adding technology into the fore, because Aquarius also represents technology and AI. Those things are not going anywhere. Um, Adapt ways to use technology, but to live rurally, right? Live further out, not necessarily in cities, but still stay connected through technology and transportation. Also, get some practical skill like making things with your hands. Remember these? Okay. And not just clicking on a keyboard, right? How do I build a home? How do I maintain a farm? How do I learn holistic medicine and know how to grow and administer holistic medicine? How do I tend to land? How do I learn how to do things like home births? All right. How do I learn how to grow food seasonally and eat seasonally, right? Um, Also, Aquarius energy and the way that you can use this is utilizing basic income. How much do you really need to survive in terms of money? And how can you adapt ways to live on that instead of outside of that or above that or even below it? Okay. And then also finally creating barter economies, sharing and borrowing supplies within your community, right? Do you see how all of this talk about attachment styles and relationships and healing our ways of interacting with each other socially. Do you see how all of that is coming into play right now and will be a part of the future? Okay. This new moon in Cancer is the best time to start planting those seeds. So, if you would like to learn how you can check on your own personal astrology chart and see how this new moon in Cancer will be affecting you personally, check out the tutorial video that I have just put onto my Patreon membership. It's $5.55 a month, and if you want to join now, you can join with a 7-day trial. The link to join is in my newsletter below and in the link in my bio. All right, everybody, it was a pleasure to bring you this new moon in Cancer breakdown. Let me know in the comments how you are experiencing it or how you think you might be experiencing it this month. And I look forward to bringing you more information next week. In the meantime, take care.